a place you feel safe in. I want it to be a place that you feel like there are manners and people love one another.
Opening soon, Garth Brooks wants his restaurant, Friends in Low Places, to be a place where people are friends from all places. Now, when I saw this headline, I assumed that Garth was asked by a reporter if he would be selling Bud Light in the bar, given the now polarizing opinion of the beer, and he responded like any agreeable person would. But no, Garth's statement wasn't solicited, it was volunteered.
And yes, we're going to serve every brand of beer. We are.
Garth doesn't mean that patrons will be served Bud Light whether they like it or not. No, he means that they're going to have a choice. There's going to be the option on the menu.
It's not our decision to make.
But it is Garth and his team's decision of how people will act in his establishment.
If you come into this house, love one another. If you're an asshole, there are plenty other places on Lower Broadway to go.
Do you want to name any names?
No?
Don't worry about it, Garth. I will. John Rich went on Fox News to explain why the transphobe is really the victim in all this.
They feel betrayed by it, and they just can't believe that now when they're sitting down to relax and have a beer at the end of the day, now it's in their face again, and I think they just had enough of it.
Yes, straight white cis men being shown that someone who doesn't look like them likes Bud Light has proven to be very triggering and very traumatic. Poor things. There's no doubt that Bud Light took a hit after the ad that featured transgender Dylan Mulvaney was released. But I got some follow-up questions for John after he claimed that patrons in his bar immediately stopped buying Bud Light after the ad was released.
Bud Light has been the number one selling beer at my bar, Redneck Riviera, down in Nashville, since we opened our doors in 2018. And over the past 7 or 8 days, our Bud Light sales are non-existent.
So John, just to confirm, these people that have been drinking Bud Light for decades, who don't like change, who don't want to hear about change, who want to keep things just as they were, overnight, they all stopped drinking Bud Light and they haven't looked back. That's what I need to believe. Okay.
We had to call the distributor and say, hey, would you come down and pick up these 118 cases of Bud Light because nobody's ordering them and they're just going to go bad sitting here.
So after John said that, I Googled, how long does a Bud Light last unopened? And the consensus seems to be about 4 months, 110 days. Okay, so John said it on TV on the day 7 mark, so that means they must have called the distributor day 5, day 6. That means they saw the numbers of day 4, day 5 kind of thing. So it could be after 4 days of slow sales that they know exactly why the sales have slowed. John didn't think, you know what, let's wait this out a little bit. Let's wait even 2 months, we can wait. And if we still haven't sold this beer, then I will worry about getting the beer back to the distributor in those last 2 months that we still have on the clock. No, he thought, I'm going to, I assume, take on an enormous cost of the distributor coming back and taking the beer away. I mean, even if you just waited it out, wouldn't it be cheaper or just free to just give the beer out to people in the parking lot like 3 days before it expires? You're going to pay the money after 4 days of slow sales when you still had 105 days on the clock. I don't believe you, John. Don't believe you.
Garth Brooks has always been the guy that said everybody come to my show. It's something that we love about Garth. He makes his music for everybody, and that really is what music's about. You're making your music for everybody. Beer's for everybody too.
It is, John? But then why'd y'all get so triggered when Bud Light showed you someone that didn't look like you enjoying a Bud Light? Y'all freaked out over that. And the other thing I found very funny is that John knows that he can come out against the transgender community and still have major support from the country music fans. But he also knows he cannot come out against Garth Brooks and still survive in country music.
Good for him. I wish him the best.
But he does have some advice for Garth.
If Garth is serving Bud Light in his bar, that's fine. Garth can do that. Garth might find out not many people are going to order it. And at the end of the day, you have to put things in your establishment that people are going to purchase if you're going to run a successful business.
I don't know if I'd listen to someone who thinks the smartest business decision is to take a massive loss after 4 to 5 days of slow sales. I don't think that's a voice you want to listen to. But yeah, what do you think of Garth making sure that Bud Light stays in place on the menu?